My best friend was carrying a movie star's baby. I was pregnant with a billionaire's child. Neither man wanted us, so we packed 4 suitcases between us, fled the country, and built our dream life in a fishing village on the coast of Portugal. We thought we were safe. We were wrong. A 15-second video destroyed everything. The video went up on a Tuesday. By Wednesday afternoon, it had 2 million views, and the comments had found us. Not the boy in the foreground. Everyone already knew he looked like Asher Kane. The problem was the background. Half a second. A woman bending down to wipe sand off a little girl's face. That was me. That was my daughter, Ivy, Marisol, our neighbor. The woman who had become our family here came barreling through the back door of my bookstore at 4 o'clock, waving her phone. "Meninas," she said, her voice tight. "You need to see this." I took her phone. The video played. There was Leo, Tessa's son, building a sandcastle. Blue eyes, sharp jawline, the face of a movie star. And then the camera panned, and there I was, half a second, wiping sand off Ivy's cheek. I said, "Where is she?" "Upstairs, Marisol." "She took the kids up an hour ago. Said she had a headache." I ran up the back stairs. Tessa was on the couch in the dark, staring at the... Leo was in the room. Ivy was coloring on the floor, completely... They found us. "No," Tessa said. Her eyes red. "I saw it. I've been waiting for you." That night we opened a bottle of wine and sat at the kitchen table, pretending everything would... Tessa said the video would be over. I said Gideon was in New York and probably didn't spend his evenings on TikTok. We said all the things you say when you're trying to convince yourself. Then we put the kids to bed and tried to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I lay in Ivy, listening to breathe, and thought about the night I told Gideon we had been seeing each other for 4 months. He was engaged, or about to be, to a woman from a family with more money. I was a gallery director in Chelsea. We both knew what it was, a fling. Wasn't. I told him on a Tuesday in the back room. He went very dead. I need... 3 days later, he called. There was $50,000 account. "For your expenses," the lawyer said. "Mr. Pierce asks that you respect privacy. I need money." Called back. I told Tessa, who was 8 weeks pregnant herself with Ian's baby, and Tessa said, We left. The engines woke 1:07. I was off the bed before the sound registered. Window. 3 black SUVs in the lane, engines idling, headlights off. 6 men in dark suits getting out, moving with quiet efficiency. Not police. Didn't move like that. My hand went to my phone. 112. My thumb was on the call button when I heard the front door. Not a knock. The sound of a key turning in a lock I thought only Tay had keys to. Phone. It clattered on the floor. The door opened. He walked into the place. Gideon Pierce, taller than I remembered, grayer at the temples, a suit that cost more than my annual rent. He didn't look angry. He looked like a man who had walked into a meeting 3 years late. Behind him, another man, broad, short-haired, an earpiece, stepped into the hall stairs, blocking them. I had my mouth to scream. The man moved than I thought possible. Across the room in 2 steps, his hand over my mouth, arm pinning mine. I bit his palm. He didn't flinch. "Easy," Gideon said, hands in his pockets. "We were at a cocktail party. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to talk." The man released my mouth but kept my arms. Gideon walked closer. "You look well," he said. "Portugal suit." "Get out," I said. My voice. "Your house." He tasted the words. 18 countries I searched. And here you were, in a fishing village, running a bookstore, and disappear. Same thing. He nodded. Her wrists. The man, Daniel, I would later learn, took them behind my back. A leather belt around them, cinched, the buckle clicking. Not painful. Gideon stepped close, his breath on my ear. "You run from me," he said. His hand came to rest on it, firm, possessive. "You thought a book on a beach would make you disappear. You were wrong, I did." I stared at the wall, at Ivy's first birthday photo, myself somewhere else. And then, from upstairs and sleepy and... "Mommy?" Gideon's hand tightened. He lifted, eyes moving to the ceiling. For the first time he looked uncertain. I used that half-second. I drew the deepest breath I had taken, walked in, and screamed a name. "Tessa!" The scream was still echoing when Tessa's door flew open. She stood in an old t-shirt, no shoes, Leo's stuffed rabbit in her hand like a weapon. Then she saw Gideon, saw Daniel, saw my wrists bound behind my back. The stuffed rabbit fell. "Get out," Tessa said, shaking. "Get out of our house." Gideon didn't look at her. He was staring up the stairs where Ivy's voice had come from. Then he turned back to me. "We're going to have a conversation." Your friend can stay or take the boy to the neighbors. Either way, this doesn't involve her. Like hell it doesn't, Tessa said, but she was already backing toward the kids' rooms. She disappeared into Ivy's room. A moment later, I heard my daughter's whimpering, then Tessa's low voice. Gideon nodded at Daniel. The belt came off. I rubbed my wrists raw and burning. I didn't sit down, Gideon said, gesturing to the kitchen table. I'm not sitting. He sat anyway, and pulled a manila folder from his jacket, slid it across the table, opened. Inside, a DNA paternity test. Probability, 99,997%. Attached, a photo of my hairbrush, the one on Ivy's bathroom. You broke into my house. I had a key, Gideon. Your landlord was cooperative. Everyone has debts, the floor tilted. The landlord. He had a key. How many times had they been in my home while I slept? This is what happened now, Gideon said, his boardroom. You and Ivy moved in. I've rented an apartment in Kais. 3 bedrooms, a garden near the International. Everything you need, a car, an account, and exchange. I get to know her. Dinner a few nights a week. I'm not going to take from you. Nora, I just want to be. You had this. I didn't know her. You didn't laugh. He leaned forward. And I'm not leaving until you yes. At him. I thought about the bookstore, Marisol's garden, Ivy's friends. Then he pulled a second document folder. Court filing. Portuguese. Custody petition. That morning. You for custody. Parental rights. There's a difference. Under Portuguese law, a child has the right to both parents. You've denied Ivy that for 3 years. I'd see that. And in us. Prove it. He said it simply. No text, no emails, no police reports. You have a bank statement showing I sent you money. We earned. In court, that looks like I tried to provide and you refused to communicate. Who does a judge believe? A billionaire with lawyers or a woman who kidnapped his child and fled the country? Kidnapped. The word landed like a blow, and he wasn't entirely wrong. I had left. I hadn't told him. I had raised it. I won't, I said. I was weaker. Worse. He stood, adjusting his jacket. Then I stopped asking. At the door he stopped. Daniel stays. For your protection, and to make sure you do anything foolish. Then he was gone. The SUVs pulled away. Daniel stood by the stairs expressionless, a wall in a suit. I sank into a chair. My hands shook. 48 hours to decide whether to surrender. On the floor. A text from Tessa. He's gone? I typed, not all of them. Then another text. Unknown number. California code. Brief. This is relatives of Asher Kane. We need to discuss Leo Vaughn. Please at your earliest convenience. Of course. Both of us at once. The unit had a cruel sense of symmetry. I went upstairs. Tessa sat on Ivy's bed. Ivy curled against her, asleep again, streaked with tears. Leo snored in the next room. They found me, too, I said, sitting with her. Asher people. They texted. Tessa closed her eyes. A tear slid down. What are we going to do? Did Ivy's sleeping face, her hand curled in Tessa's shirt, at the bruise on my wrist. I thought about Gideon's calm and certain 48 hours. I thought about the kidnapped. Fight, I said. But even said it, Ivy stirred. A sleepy voice said, Mommy? That man. He had my eyes. I held her tighter. I didn't have an answer. Not yet. Daniel was still there at 7. He had moved to a chair by the front window, holding my coffee cup. My kitchen, my coffee. He didn't apologize. Good morning, he said. I didn't answer. I called Sofia Mendez, an expat family lawyer in Lisbon another American in town had recommended. On the 4th try, she answered, groggy. It's 7 in the morning. A man broke into my house last night. He filed for custody of my daughter. I have 48 hours. A pause. Send me your address. I'll be there in an hour. Sophia arrived at 8:15, sharp-eyed, blazer over jeans, a briefcase that had seen things. She took one look at Daniel, one look at my wrists and said, Kitchen. Now. You. She pointed at Daniel. Living room. If I hear you, I call the police and report trespassing. I don't care who you work for. Daniel stood slowly and walked to the living room. He didn't. He stood by the window listening. I told Sophia everything. The pregnancy, the money, the flight, 3 years in Portugal, the video, the break-in, the DNA test, the custody fund, the 48 hours. She took notes, face giving nothing. When I finished, she sat down her. Here's where we are. He has a strong case. You left the country with his child without informing him. That's parental abduction under the Hague Convention. Portugal is a signatory. Technically, he could have you deported. The room spun. But he abandoned us. Did he threaten you? Tell you to leave? Do you have evidence you fled out of fear? I thought about Gideon's call. I think you should consider all your options. The money arriving 2 days later. No, said. Then we don't lead with abandonment. We lead with the best interest of the child. He is 3. Never met him. Stable home, community routine. Portuguese courts prioritize continuity. We argue for limited supervised visitation while I read the words. It's not a win. It's a holding action. But it buys you time. And time is what you need. So I left at 10. I spent the morning gathering evidence. I's birth certificate, father blank, my prenatal records, every appointment's alone. Hundreds of photos of I. I labeled folder evidence. At noon, downstairs. She looked at the folder, at Daniel's window, and said, "Talk." We went. Didn't follow. Marisol made tea and dished to her garden. Time. I did something. 6 months ago, I sent an email to Asher's agent, anonymous. I just asked if someone thought they might have had a child with a client SB. I didn't name anyone. I was lonely. Leo was asking about his dad. I just wanted to know if any chance. She was crying. I felt anger, hot and sudden. Then it faded, because I knew. I knew what it felt like to be alone with a toddler and a secret. I had handled it differently. Knew. Did they trace it? I asked. I don't know. Fake email. VPN. I thought I was careful. She wiped her eyes. No, I'm so sorry. No, that's how they found us. Taking her hand. Gideon's been looking 3 years. Just sped it up. That afternoon, Gideon's pressure became tangible. My landlord called. Nora, I'm sorry. I've had an offer. 3 times your rent. For the whole property. I can't know. 30 days. That's the minimum. I hung up. Then the phone rang again. Municipal Health Department. An inspection of Alton Page scheduled for next week. Routine, the woman said. It wasn't routine. Stop had passed 6 months. This was Gideon, from every side. That evening, Sophia arranged a meeting at his penthouse in Chiado. Floor-to-ceiling windows over the Tegus, furniture that cost more than my annual income. Gideon alone. Daniel. A bottle of open. Give me a glass. I didn't touch it. You're making a mistake, he said. Fighting this. You can't win? I didn't. I just need to lose. Thing. He sat from me. Let me ask you something. When Ivy was born, were you alone? I didn't answer. Were you alone? Yes. This was a whisper. I was alone. 8 months pregnant and could barely stand. 14 hours of labor in a hospital where nobody spoke language. I held her first by myself. Took her home by myself. When she was 6 months old, she had a fever of 104, and had in an ER for 6 hours by myself, not knowing if she'd be okay. And you, where were you? Room? A yacht? With your wife? Gideon was silent. Jaw tight. You don't get to walk in here and talk about what's best for her, I said. Missed 3 years. You don't get back. For a long, he said nothing. Then at the window. I'm not apologizing. I made a choice. It was wrong. But I'm here now, and I'm not leaving. You can hit me, fight me, but I will be in my daughter's life. The only question is whether to make that easy or good, then hard. Fine. In the elevator, I leaned against the wall. I thought about the envelope in my drawer, the 50,000 untouched 3 years. The landlord, the inspection, legal fees. Sophia's voice, time is what you need. And time costs money. I went straight to the drawer, pulled out the envelope, looked at the bank statement, then called. I need to transfer some funds, I said. After 9, I got upstairs. Kids asleep, Tessa on the carrying at the wall. Daniel was gone from his chair. First I hoped. Then I heard laughter. From the beach, into the window. Below, in the street lamp glow, Daniel was on his knees in the sandcastle. Ivy handed him seashells. Leo sat on his shoulders, pulling his hair. Daniel was smiling. Really smiling, I watched them. I felt something complex. Not jealousy, but a fear sharper than jealousy. That mother might like these people, might want them, choose them. My phone buzzed. The landlord again. Nora, I sold the lease. You have 30 days. I looked at the beach, at Ivy's laughter floating up, at Daniel's broad back in the sand. 30 days. Gideon was taking my home, my shop, my safety. With a court filing and a man hassles with my daughter. I didn't cry. I went to bed and eyed me, smelling screen and salt, and said, Mommy, Daniel says he has a daughter. My age, can we meet her? Maybe someday, baby. Maybe someday. The next 10 days were a war of attrition. Sophia filed an emergency response. Gideon's lawyers filed for temporary visitation. Sophia countered for supervised only. Paperwork piled. My bank account, swollen by the 50,000, began to shrink. The health inspection came with a list of minor violations. I fixed them. They scheduled another. Tessa ignored Asher's team. Calls, texts, emails, a formal letter requesting a meeting about parental rights and future arrangements. Tessa threw it in the trash. I fished it out for the evidence folder. We looked for a new place. Ericeira was expensive. Nothing with room for 2 women and 2 kids felt right. Nothing felt like home. It was on a trip to Cascais, looking at a 2-bedroom above a bakery that I ran into her. Mid-40s, blonde, cream coat, heels that cost more than my car, smoking on the sidewalk. She looked at me. "You're the one from the video." "The bookstore," in Ericeira. My hand went to my phone. "Who are you?" "Victoria Pierce. Gideon's ex-fiancée. We never made it to the wedding." I stared. Victoria Pierce. Gideon had mentioned her once before I knew I was "I'm not here to you." I saw the video too. And I know what Gideon does when he decides he wants something. I thought you'd want the version he won't tell you. We sat at an out table. Victoria ordered it though. I ordered water. 3 years ago, Gideon and I were engaged. Our families were merging. Pierce Holdings and Ash Group. 40 billion. Then you... She said it without malice, like weather. Doubt. Fronted him. Ultimatum. You or the merger. I told him if he chose you, my family walks, the deal collapses, his father never forget him. And his father? Seth Pierce. Called Gideon into his office. And I quote, "A bastard child will not singly." Told him to away. Quietly. No drama. Victoria paused. Gideon didn't choose to abandon you, Nora. He was told to. By me, by his father, by everyone. And he did what he always implied. I still. 3 years I had hated him for choosing business over us. Built an identity around being the woman he discarded. And now this woman told me he hadn't chosen at all. Chosen for. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to know. And he's not because he changed. They're collapsed. My family walked 18 months ago when I found out for you. His father died last year. No one to tell him what to do. So now he's come to collect what he thinks is his. You. The child. The family he was denied. He's naming himself Nora. He's acquiring. And when he acquires something, he controls it. Every part, I thought about the landlord. The inspection. The DNA from Ivy's brush. Daniel building sandals. Acquiring. Yes, can you help me? She reached into her, pulled out a business card. I can't testify. Can't be public. But if you need information, his finances, families, call this. Ask for Margaret. She's Gideon's sister. We've remained friends. She doesn't know you. Yet. I took the card. Mars. A phone number. One more thing, Victoria said, standing. Gideon keeps a photo not of me. I saw it once when we were engaged. A sonogram. I didn't know whose then. I know now. She walked away, sat staring at the card. Thinking about a sonogram in a wallet. That night. Been without telling me. Left on the fridge. I'll be tea. I found it at 3 hours, sick with worry. She came back at 10, hollow, sat on the couch staring at her hands. It wasn't him. His agent and his lawyer. Presentation. Slides. They want me to sign DA, move back to LA. If I cooperate, acknowledge Leo at the right time. For his career. They have a timeline, a PR schedule. Leo bullet point. She laughed ugly. I told them no. Told them to go to... And the lawyer looked and said, Ms. Vaughn, you're a single mother with no legal representation, and logically our client's son. How long can hold out? She looked at me. Same thing Gideon said to you. Word for word, I sat beside her. Nothing to... The real blow came to her. So called tight. Nora, sit down. Gideon's team filed a supplemental motion, requesting a psychological evaluation for alleging emotional instability, that you fled under parent delusions, isolated the risk of parental alienation. They hired a psychologist. Very expensive. He'll interview you, Ivy, everyone in your life. Then write a report. A report says what? Whatever pays him to say. Sophia paused. You have no record. No mental illness. But you left the country. Hid. Raised her without the father. That pattern can look like instability, especially with unlimited resources framing it. I sat on my bed. Phone to my ear. Staring. Kidnapped. Acquiring. The word looped. Start documenting everything. Sophia said. Every interaction text is there. Find witnesses. People who can good mother. He is stable. Saul. Other parents. The preschool teacher. Anyone. I'll do it. I hung up. Went downstairs. Shop closed. Daniel gone. He'd started leaving during the day, only evenings. At the counter making a list when I heard it. Crying. Ivy's. The scared cry. I ran up. Ivy on her bed, face streaked, stuffed rat clutched to her chest. Baby, what's wrong? Daniel took me for ice cream today. While you were at the shop. Secret. Said not to tell you you'd be sad. My blood turned to ice. He took you where? The ice cream shop in town. He said he has Chloe, my age. He misses her. And he... Her voice broke. Maybe I can meet her. And maybe her daddy can meet me too. I held her so tight she squirmed. Daniel wasn't just a wall in a suit. He was a Trojan horse. Gideon had been using him to get Ivy, not just me. The phone rang. Sophia. Hold on temporary visitation. Granted. 2 hours a week, unsupervised, starting Saturday. I'm sorry, Saturday. 3 days. Gideon alone with 2 hours, unsupervised. I looked at Ivy, quietly sucking her thumb, staring at the... I thought about the ice cream, Chloe. How much damage 2 hours? Need to see you, said. Tomorrow. Person. Plan. Tomorrow. 9. My office. I lay beside Ivy, hovers over us. She curled inside, warm and small. Outside, a car door closed. Footsteps on gravel. Daniel was back. I didn't move. I held my daughter man downstairs by the window and thought, 2 hours. He gets 2 hours alone with her. And then what? Saturday arrived like a toothache. I cleaned all morning. Kitchen, bathroom, bookstore. Rearranged the children's section. Anything to keep my hands busy. At 2, a black car pulled up. Gideon got out alone. No Daniel. Reassigned, fired, sent away. I didn't know. Didn't ask. I stood in the doorway with Ivy's hand in mine. Gideon wore jeans and a sweater. Not a suit. He looked like a normal person. Like a father. That was almost worse. Hi, he said, crouching to Ivy's level. You must be Ivy. I'm Gideon. Ivy hid behind my leg. Mommy, who is that? My throat closed. I'd practiced this. Written scripts. Asked Sophia what to say. Now I had nothing. He's a friend, baby. Going to take you to the aquarium. Like a field trip, Ivy out. The aquarium? With the fish? With the fishes, Gideon said. And sharks. And penguins. Do you like penguins? I did. 3. Penguins were a powerful argument. Baby, be brave for hours. Then you're homie. If you get scared, tell Gideon. Tell him you want to call mommy, okay? Okay. I walk car. Gideon opened the door. A new car seat and back, installed correctly. Of course, I climbed in. Buckled her. Closed the door. Turned to me. 2 hours. Back by 4. If you're late one minute, I know. He got in. Pulled away. I watched it at a corner. I ran inside, grabbed my bag, called an Uber. Gideon with Ivy, Daniel gone, cottage empty. 2 hours to do what I'd planned since Sophia told me vacation. The Uber to Lisbon. The Chiato building where Gideon house. I didn't break in. I walked into the lobby. Concierge. Hi, here to apartment 12B. Realtor said afternoon. Apartment 12B? I'm not aware. Oh, she said she'd leave the key. Sarah, from Remax? I leaned in. But I think she forgot. Drove all the way from Cascais. Could you just let me up? 5 minutes. The concierge shrugged. 12B is a rental. 3rd elevator. I said. Lifesaver. The elevator to 12. Go to 12B. Went to the fire stairwell. Climbed 1 flight. 13th floor. Gideon's penthouse. Heavy steel door, keypad lock, camera above. I didn't try to open it. Stood there, memorizing the lock, the vent. Calculating the shape of his security. 3 minutes. Then back down, thanked the concierge. Walked out. Nothing actionable yet. The first step. I sat in a cafe across the street. Cortado and phone rang. Victoria. Me at the Bell and Paste shop. 20. I have something. I arrived in 18. Victoria at a back table, a paper bag in front. Pushed it across. Gideon's father's last will. Probated last year. Got a copy through Margaret. Read page 7. Opened it. Flipped to 7. Found the paragraph. Should my son Gideon Pierce have a biological child or children, whether within or outside of wedlock, said child or children shall be named as beneficiaries of the Pierce Family Trust, entitled to 10% of all trust distribution of majority. I read it 3 times. I'm a beneficiary, I said, since his father died. Hasn't told you. Hasn't told the other trustees. Been hiding it, because if his sister Margaret and nephew Thomas an additional 10% claim, they'll question everything, demand an audit. He hid a child 3 years? I set the document down, hands shaking from fear. Something hotter. He wants custody, I said, not just because he's her father. If she's with me, he can't control her claim. He's with him, he controls everything. Her money, relationship to the family. He's not fighting for visitation. He's fighting for control of that. Congratulations. Victoria smiled. You found his soft underbelly. I thought about the psychological eval, filing, landlord inspection. All. The trust was the control panel. Margaret, you said she does. She does. Then I'm going to tell. Victoria raised an eyebrow. Bold. Only move. If Margaret knows, she chooses. Side with Gideon and protect the secret. With the child and demand transparency. Either way, Gideon loses the narrative. Time in 3 years. Victoria was quiet. I'll arrange a meeting. Margaret's in New York. In Lisbon, never. I'll. Thank you. Don't. I'm not doing this for you. Gideon Pierce deserves to lose something. You're the first with the guts to take it. She left. I sat back and felt something I hadn't in weeks. Not hope, something practical. A plan back in Arikara, 3:45. Gideon's car already in the drive. He sat on the porch with ivy, gelato, and chatterins. She looked happy. Fine. Broke a little. And stood. We had a good time. She loved the penguins. Talked about her drawings. Says she wants to be an artist. Good. I kept neutral. I'm here. Let's cleaned up. Ivy ran to me. I picked warm, sticky gelato and salt. Mommy, she said, close to my ear. Gideon says he's daddy. Is that true? I closed my eyes. 2 hours. He'd done it in 2 hours. We'll talk later, baby. Now I carried her in. Gideon followed to the door. Did come in. Stood on the porch. Nora, thank you. I didn't answer. Closed the door. That night, after kids asleep, I called Victoria's number. She answered third ring. Ms. Name is Nora Calloway. I have a daughter, Ivy. 3. Her father is Gideon Pierce, and I think you need to know she's the beneficiary of your family trust. Then Margaret sharp. What did you just say? I told her everything. Pregnancy, flight, 3 years, video custody battle, will. She didn't. Listened. When I finished, another silence. I'm going to look into this. And if it's true, if my brother hid a child from this family, 3, he had a serious conversation. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Don't know you. Don't know what you want. But I know my brother. If you fight him, prepared to lose everything. That's what he does to people in his way. I'm already prepared. He's taken my home, my peace. Only thing he has taken is my daughter. That's the line. Quiet. Then, I'll be in touch. Hung up. I set the phone down. Lightheaded. And fired the first real shot. No idea what our attack looked like. Found out an hour. Phone rang. Gideon. I almost didn't answer. Did. You called my sister, he said. Different voice. Not calm. Not control. Raw. Angst. Desperate. Told her about the trust. About Ivy. I did. You had no right. I had every right. She's my daughter, beneficiary of that trust. You had no right to hide her own family. He breathed hard. I could hear it. You think you've won? Think my sister sides with you? She's a Pierce. Then she'll protect Ivy, because she's a Pierce too. Longer silence. Then his voice low and dangerous. You don't know what you've... I warned you. Told you not hard. You made it hard when you house. I made it hard when I let you leave 3 years ago. His voice cracked. Just enough. I've come after you. Found you sooner. Shouldn't have let my father... He stopped. Doesn't matter. Dragged my family into this. Now I have to deal with you. All of you. Hung up. I stared at the phone. Heard it. The crack. The thing beneath control. Getting his grip. Grip was more dangerous. Control. Tessa in the doorway. She'd been listening. What happened? Margaret knows. And Gideon just mind. Sat beside me. Then we'd better be... Comes next. I nodded. About to speak when my phone buzzed. Text, unknown number. Opened it, a photograph. In from across the bookstore window. Me behind the counter locking up. That evening. You're not the only... I showed. Her face went pale. Who is that? I thought. Gideon wouldn't send a photo. Gideon sent things in DNA tests and landlords. This was something else. Someone else. I don't know, I said. But I intend to find out. I set the phone down. Outside, ocean on rocks, somewhere in the dark, car engine started and pulled away. I didn't know who watched us. But I knew. The board had gotten bigger. Players were no longer just the ones I could see. The meeting was Margaret's idea. She called 3 days after our first conversation, clipped and efficient. Read the will. Spoke to co-trustees. Ivy's claim valid. Gideon knows I know. Not happy. Pause. I arranged a meeting. All 4 of you. You, Tessa, Gideon, Asher, with lawyers. Lisbon, Thursday. 10. We settle this. Settle what? Everything. Custody. Trust. NDA Asher's team pushing. All of it. Gideon wants it. Asher's team wants it. I want it. Only question is whether you and Tessa want it. I looked at Tessa on the couch. Leo in her lap. Cartoon playing. Tessa looked up, nodded. We'll be there. Thursday morning. I wore my only blazer. Dark gray. Bought for a 2022 interview. Never worn. Tessa wore a black dress and boots. Looked like she was going to a funeral. Might be accurate. Private room at a members-only club in Principe Real. Dark wood, leather chairs, long table, coffee and pastries nobody would eat. Gideon already there, head of table, flanked by 2 expensive lawyers. Margaret at the far end, alone, watching with the calm gaze of a woman raised in a house where every conversation was a negotiation. Asher Kane arrived 5 minutes. Gray sweater, jeans, looked like a movie star, because he was. Perfectly messy hair, sharp jaw, practiced charming smell. Sat next to his lawyer, a navy-suited woman who looked like she ate nerves for breakfast. Tessa and I sat across from Sophia beside. Briefcase in, penny, AC. A tram clanged outside. Gideon's lawyer spoke. Thank you. Purpose, comprehensive settlement regarding custody and upbringing of Ivy Calloway, I said. Her name is Ivy Calloway, not Pierce. She uses my last name. The lawyer looked. Gideon's jaw nodded, almost Ivy, the lawyer corrected, and Vaughn. Frame proposal. For Ivy, jointly custody, primary physical residence in city. Mr. Pierce provides residence, fund. Ms. Calloway granted. My palm. She's not moving. Ms. Calloway, if I you need to. You'll say Gideon provides better life, better schools. I should be grateful for visitation. The thing. Leaned forward. I didn't come here to negotiate my daughter's living arrangements with a man who hasn't changed one diaper in years. I came because it asked, and I thought maybe for once the 2 women in this room could actually table, not a silence. Gideon's looked thrown. Asher's took notes. Margaret watched me, expression. Ash lawyer next. Leo Vaughn. Framework. Mr. Kane acknowledges paternity, financial support, visit schedule. Exchange. Ms. Vaughn signs NDA, agrees to live in Los Angeles area. No. Tessie. Not signing NDA, moving to LA, not letting you turn my son into a G. Or shifted. Looked at the first time. Really looked. Mouth open, closed. Ms. Vaughn, his lawyer said. If you're not willing to faith. She is negotiating in good faith, I said. Just not on your terms, neither of us. If you'd stop talking 5 minutes, you might want. I stood, walked to the head of the table and sat. Set down a document, copy of the will. Clause highlighted. Sent his last will. Page 7. Any biological child of Gideon Pierce, born in outside marriage, is a beneficiary only trust, 10%. Ivy is 3, has been beneficiary 3 years. Gideon has known 1 year since his father died. Didn't tell any of you. I looked at Margaret, her face impassive, eyes sharp. Didn't tell his sister. Didn't tell Coach Stees. Didn't tell Ivy. Because if anyone found out, they'd ask questions. Why he hid a child. Why she grew up in a fishing village while he lived in a penthouse. What else he's hiding. I turned again. So let's be clear. This isn't custody negotiation. This is damage control. Because you love Ivy. You're here because I found the trust. Margaret found Ivy. Your lie is unraveling. You need Ivy under your control. Ask questions. Gideon white. Hands clenched. Like he wanted to That Gideon started. Then my voice rose. You broke into my house. Had my landlord evict me? Fought a psyche eval to make me look unstable. Sent a man to spy on me and build a relationship with my daughter my back. All of it. And now you sit here acting like discussing what's best for our child. This isn't about Ivy. It's about you. Always about you. Dead silence. AC hummed. Clock ticked. Then looked at Asher. I have something too, she said. Shaking but didn't. 3 years ago got me pregnant. Didn't call. Didn't text. Had your agent send money and a note saying, all options. I did. Considered all. Chose to have my baby. Chose to raise him with my best friend in a country where nobody knew you. 3 years, that was enough. She paused. Wiped her eye. Then a video went viral. Suddenly your team calls. NDAs, PR timelines, marketing plans. Treating a product launch. I knew. She looked directly at Asher. Did you know? Did you know they were doing this? Or did you just let them? Asher looked at Tessa. For the first time, he didn't look like a movie star. Looked like a man. Tired, guilty, 36, spent his whole adult life letting others decide. I knew, he said quiet. Knew about NDA thing. PR plan. Didn't stop it. That's what I do. Don't stop things. Let team handle. Everyone handle everything except... He stood, looked at his lawyer. Sarah, stared. What? Heard me. Fired. Get out. Sarah Asher. The room at Asher. Packed briefcase. Walked out. Door. Asher turned to Tessa. Don't want NDA. Don't want you in LA. Don't want PR plan. Want to know my son. If you'll let me. No, I don't deserve it. Absent 3 years. But I'm here. First time in my life making my own decision. Decision is, I want to be Leo's dad. Not a brand. Not a storyline. A dad. Tessa. Mouth open. Nothing. Gideon knocked his chair back. Loud. Are you kidding me? Playing reformed bad boy? Letting her dictate. She's a single mother with no money and no lawyer. She has a lawyer, said quietly. Me. Gideon ignored her. Looked at me. And you? Think you won because you found Will? Think my sister side with you? She's a Pierce. We don't air dirty laundry. Don't let outsiders... I'm not either, Margaret said. She'd been quiet all meeting. Now tall, silver-haired room listened. Ivy is my niece. She's a Pierce. And you hid her from me. From this family. 3 years. Gideon, I don't know who you are anymore. Don't recognize a man who'd do that to a child. His own child. Stared. Margaret, no. Hand up. Don't want to hear it. Spent last week with co-trustees. Reviewed Will. Ivy's claim valid. Told them I'll support Ms. Calloway's petition for primary custody. Reasonable visitation for you. If you fight this, try to take that child from her mother. I testify against you. Tell court everything. Trust. Hide who you really are. Understand? Gideon sat. Looked like someone with a plug. Shoulders slumped. Ray, I looked at him. Felt something closer to pity. Then angry at myself for pity. This was the man who broke fists, tried to take my daughter. But I remembered Victoria. He didn't choose to abandon you. Told to. The sonogram, his voice cracking. I should have found you sooner. I walked around the table. Sat in the chair next to Gideon. Not across. Next to Gideon, I said quiet. I'm not taking Ivy from you. Not telling her you don't exist. Not doing to you what your father did to her. Making her a secret. But I'm also not letting you take her. Not a life where she's a trust asset instead of a little girl. Gideon looked at me. Eyes red. Here's the proposal. Ivy stays in Portugal. With me. Her home, school, friends. You get visitation. 1 week a month. Every month. You come here. Stay in a hotel. Learn to be her dad. Change diapers. Take her to aquarium. Sit through 3-year-old birthdays. Do the work. If you do it, show up, consistent, treat her like daughter, not asset. We talk more. Jointity, whatever. You earn it. Don't get it because you filed a lawsuit. Pause. Exchange. I don't go to media. Don't tell anyone about trust. Don't make scandal. Family privacy intact. Reputation intact. Only thing changes. You have a daughter. She knows who you are. You have to show. Can you do that? Not turn this into an acquisition. Gideon stared. Long silence. Room waited. Ticked. Then he reached his jacket. Pulled out wallet. Opened. A photo. Dated sonogram. 3 years old. Edges worn. Set on table. Carried this 3 years. He's rough. Heavy. Wallet. I don't know how to be a father, Nora. My father didn't teach me. Taught deals, winning, never show weakness. Teach loving a child. Don't do this. I looked at the sonogram. At Gideon. Thought about Ivy asking, is Gideon my daddy? What Ivy needed. Not perfect father. Present one. Then, I said, that's all any of us do. We learn. Gideon nodded, slowly. 1 month. If do well, talk. He looked at the sonogram. Then at me. Ill. I exhaled. Didn't realize I'd been holding breath. So looked at Asher. Tessa. Different quiet now. Not tension. Something settling. So, Tessa said. 1 week a month? You too? Asher smiled. Real smile. Not movie star. Smaller. Human. I was thinking more. If that's okay. Tessa looked at him. Then at me. I shrugged. We'll see, Tessa said. 1 week. To start. Meeting ended. Lawyers gathered papers. Margaret shook my hand. You did well. He needed to hear it from someone not afraid of him. Sophia gave me preliminary agreement copy. I walked out into Lisbon sunlight. Tessa beside me. Stood on sidewalk blinking like people from a dark room. Did we just... Tessa started. Yeah, I said. Think we did. A car pulled to curb. Window down. Daniel driving. Looked different. No suit, no earpiece. Flannel jeans. Daniel? I said. He fired me. Daniel said. This morning. Before me. Said I was too close to the top. Have something. Reached into glove compartment. Pulled out a USB drive. Held it. Everything, he said. Every record. Search. Every clue found and lost. Including the night he found you. Should see it. All of it. I took the drive. Small, plastic, warm. Looked at Daniel. Why give me this? For first time his face was... I had her. Chloe. Wouldn't want someone doing to her what he was doing. Window up. Car pulled away. I stood on sidewalk, drive in hand. Wow. Tessa looked live. There. I thought about Gideon's cracking voice, sonogram and wallet. Daniel building sandcastles, telling Ivy. I think, the story we've been telling ourselves about Gideon Pierce is about to get a lot more complicated. Put drum bag. Walked downhill toward River Lizoon. And for first time in weeks I didn't like running. Felt like walking. I woke at 7 next morning and for 10 seconds every normal. House quiet. Sun through curtains. Ivy curled against my side, warm breathing. Remembered. The meeting. The agreement. Voice. I don't know. The USB in my bag. Downstairs on the kitchen table. Up carefully. Robe on. Stairs. Till asleep. She'd stayed up late on the phone with Asher. Voice low and ancient. Leo in Tessa's room snoring, made coffee. Sat at table. Stared at the USB drive. Plugged it in, organized. Folders by date, country, lead. Thousands of files. Flight manifests, credit card receipts, school enrollments, expat forum screenshots, satellite imagery of coastal towns across Africa. Ian had been thorough. Looking a very long time, I scrolled. Found Portugal Ericeira confirmed, opened. First file dated 8 months ago. Not 3 weeks ago when the video went viral. Months, read the report. Gideon's team identified Era 8 months ago. Tessa's freelance design paid Portuguese bank account. Ivy's preschool English website listed Norris as parent contact. A Facebook photo showed a child with Gideon's eyes. Confirmed location. Surveilled cottage. Took photographs. They'd known Gideon had done nothing. For 8 months. Found the email chain. Gideon and head of security. Secure recommended immediate action. Subject located. Recommendation and legal filing. Gideon's 8. Not yet. 3 months later. Subject remains. Recommend Gideon. Not yet. Before video. Boys to Kane noticeable. Risk increasing. Gideon. I said wait. A video went viral. Subject posed via social media. Public risk high. Recommend immediate action. Gideon. Proceed. I sack. Stared at screen. He'd known 8 months. Found months ago. And waited. Waited because he didn't know how to approach. Waited because he was scared. Waited until the video gave him an excuse. Until he could tell himself and me he acted as circumstances forced him because he chose to. Leo hadn't found us. And had. 8 months ago. Sitting on the animation. Paralyzed. Only he could give himself. Something shifted inside me. Not forgiveness. Not there yet, but understanding. Deeper. More complicated understanding of the man who broke in my house. Tied my wrists. Called me a napper. He was a villain. He was a coward. And coward, I was learning, could be more dangerous. Because they didn't act until forced. They overcorrected. Found the last file. Text message log. Number I didn't recognize. Same number that sent the bookstore photo. Mess between that number and Margaret Pierce. Read them. Was Margaret's private investigator. Margaret investigating Gideon over a year. Since their father died, this trust account discrepancies. PI found me, photographed me, sent warning. You're not the only search, not threat. A signal, trying to tell me, I see you. I know, be careful. When I called Margaret, V, she'd already known, and waiting for me to make... I laughed. Surprised, almost delighted. Margaret Pierce was a piece of work. Very glad she was on our side. Closed laptop. Poured more coffee. Stood at kitchen window looking at street. Normal Friday morning in Arizona. Fisherman with bucket. Dog barking. Bakery bread smell drifting. And nothing ever normal again. Next, slow, strange rebuild. Asher came to Ericeira. Didn't rent a villa or penthouse. Rented a small apart shop 3 blocks from the cottage. Showed every morning at 8 coffee and pastries. Learned to be Leo's dad. Terrible at it. Couldn't change a diaper without making us. Didn't know Leo was allergic to peanuts. Tried to get right. Tessa slapped from his hand. But he showed up. Every day. Asked questions. Listened. Tessa, me, Marisol, learned. Leo wary at first. Then curious. Then, after Asher built taller than Leo himself, Smith. Leo started calling him Ash. Asher cried first he heard it. Went into bathroom, closed door, cried. Came out odd, said allergies. Nobody called him on. Tessa watched with complicated expression. Didn't forgive. Didn't let off hook, but let him be. Slowly, neither love nor hate. Partnership. Co-parenting. Boy with his father's eyes and mother's. Gideon came for his first week. Stayed at a small inn on the edge of town. Floral bedspread peaches at breakfast buffet. Hated it. Called assistant twice first day trying to find better hotel. Gave up when realized there wasn't one. Showed at cottage at 9 every morning. Brought gifts, too many. Dog costing more than my car. French books Ivy couldn't read. Stuffed penguin size of a 3-year-old. Return half. Didn't need all this, I said. She looked at me like I spoke foreign. Tried again. Week was. Gideon didn't know how to talk to a 3-year-old. Tried conversation. Ivy, tell me about your. Said. Gideon didn't know what to do. Got on knees, they played in dirt. Got his dirty. Didn't complain. By then something shifted. Ivy held his hand walking to playground. And Gideon instead of. And Gideon smiled. Not boardroom, not real smile, tired, uncertain, genuine. Last night he stood on porch, bad hand. Thank for letting me try, I nodded. Same time next month? Same time next month. Walked to car. Got in, drove away. I stood on porch, watched him go. He's learning, slowly, painfully, but learning. Tessa told Asher about the email on a Tuesday evening after Leo was asleep. They sat on the beach sharing wine, ocean dark and loud. Something, Tessa said. Send an email. To your agent, anonymous. If someone thought they might have had a child with what would happen. Didn't name you, didn't name Leo. I think that's how they found her. Or started looking. Asher quiet long time. Looked at Ocean. No, my team said they got a tennis party. Never thought it. I'm sorry. Don't be. Turned to her. Face soft in moonlight. If you hadn't sent that, they might never found us. I might on. So thank you for being brave what I wasn't. Tessa looked at him. Said nothing. Leaned head on his shoulder. Sat watching Ocean. Tessa didn't feel everything alone. Bookstore reopened. Passed. All options fixed. Paperwork in order. Found a new place. Larger cottage other side of town. Garden, separate shop space. Cost more, but between bookstore revenue, Gideon's child support, didn't but reliable. Attribution for Leo. We made work. Marisol helped move. Brought nephew and truck. Supervisor and I carried boxes. Kids ran screaming around new garden. Too much stuff, Marisol said. You women have too much stuff. It's books, Marisol. We are. Contractually obligated. Marisol grumbled, smiling. New cottage had a porch. Big porch. Table. Chairs. Hanging chair Ivy immediately claimed. In new place, I sat on porch with coffee and watched Tessa in garden teaching Leo to play. Asher beside her holding trowel upside down confused. Marisol at outdoor table sliced cheese, uttering Portuguese about men who can't use a shovel. Gideon sat on porch steps beside Ivy, watching her draw. Arrived night before. Second week. Jeans and t-shirt now, not suit. Brief this time. Up crayons. Approved. Ivy held up drawing. Family portrait. 5 figures. Tall woman, dark hair. Shorter woman, blonde. Tessa. And in suit. Gideon. She still drew him in suit even though he didn't wear one. Man with big smile, Asher. Middle, small figure, pigtails, holding hands with everyone. Corner, another small figure. That's Leo, Ivy explained. Too little for middle. So corner. I looked at drawing. Looked at garden. Tessa laughing as Asher dropped tomato plant. Marisol slapping his hand from shovel. Leo running circles with dirt handful. Looked at Gideon on porch steps watching Ivy draw. Expression part wonder, part terror. Like holding something fragile, afraid to break. Thought about the night he broke in. Belt. SUVs. Guess how many times I'll break you before cops show up. Thought how far we'd come. Not because he changed, he hadn't. Not really. Still control freak. Still tried buying everything. Still couldn't talk feeling. But he was here. Showing up. And that, I was learning, was more than I ever expected. Mom, Ivy said. Look, it's our family. I looked at drawing. 5 stick figures holding hands. Small boy in corner. Crayon sky blue and purple and little bit green. Ivy mixed color. Not the family I'd imagined pregnant alone in a Portuguese hospital wondering future. Not the family I built first 3 years. Just me, Tessa, kids. Perfect island of women and children. No mess. More complicated. 2 men who didn't know what they were doing. Little boy in corner. Crayon sky wrong color. But it was our. Yeah, babe, I said. Took drawing, held up in morning light. It is, behind me espresso. Tessa. Leo screamed. Maris. Gideon said, Ivy, would you show me how you draw the pig? And Ivy said, oh, Gideon. Pigtail delicate. I set drawing on trailing. Pig coffee. Sat in hanging chair, rocked, watched my family, strange, messy, imperfectly. And for first time in very long time, I didn't feel like waiting for others. Felt like